All right, I've just got a few things to say about this video here. It was obviously not from too long ago, September 23rd. It appears here that in Australia somewhere, I don't know anything about Australia, so wherever it took place, who knows, okay? But here you go. It's absolutely outrageous that an all-male netball team beat girls in the state tournament. So here, let's hear what this newscaster has to say about that, okay?
Now, the all-boys team wins every match, running up huge score lines, including a 30-goal victory in the grand final.
Okay, a 30-goal victory in the grand final. Here's what I say. Lies. Lies, lady. Why are you promulgating fake news? Okay, here we go. Sky News Australia, guilty of fake news. Because let's scroll down here. 46-12. There you go. It was 34 goals. Thank you very much. I'm sure those boys would like to be properly credited. Okay. So anyways, they have this woman on who says, let's see here, this woman here, and she goes on a bit of a tirade, okay? And I am of two minds on this issue, okay? Because I definitely understand the anger and the outrage about it, because the notion of having boys and girls compete in the same league for a lot of sports is ludicrous. That's why there's girls' leagues, okay? That's why there's women's leagues. That's why there's freaking separate categories. Why you don't have, female weightlifters competing with male weightlifters, notwithstanding recent Olympic events. It's why you don't have boxing, right? Women's boxing and men's boxing as the same thing. Because anybody with half a brain is going to be able to understand that there is just an intrinsic biological difference. But these realities and these common sense statements are completely lost on ideologues, okay? So where I am of two minds, where one, I say, yes, of course, it is absolutely ludicrous to have the boys team compete in there in a girls league and win the championship, because they undoubtedly will probably win the championship. I lean far more heavily now to the side of let it freaking happen. Let it roll. Because this is the world that they have wanted. Okay, they have created this world. So when we listen to some of what this woman here says, and I have no idea what her name is. They probably put her name on the screen at some point.
Australasia, Catherine Deves.
There you go, Catherine Deves. Okay. So I'm just going to go forward here, and I'm going to say at 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Let's go up here and see what she has to say.
Frankly, I'd like to say to these boys, they should have forfeited. I mean, if they wanted to play netball, they should have done what women and girls have always historically done over the years and decades and centuries of fighting for equality, for access to sporting opportunities. And we've gotten out there, we've done the recruiting.
They should have forfeited. Those guys put in just as much work as the women. They showed up to practices. They got out there. They hustled their butts. And you know what? If they're out there winning 46-12, they probably freaking hustled their butts a lot more than these women did. So why should they forfeit? They didn't break any rules of the game. Clearly, they were allowed to enter the tournament by the organizers. They have done nothing wrong. Okay? All I've heard from for years and years and years, for decades, ever since I was in high school, was we need more inclusivity. We need opportunities. We need to enable people to be empowered, to enjoy what they want to do. That's all I've heard. And these guys have every right to jump in there just as much as everything, only because you meant we want women to have opportunities. We want girls to have opportunities under the guise of saying we want everybody to have opportunities. Well, that's not my fault. That's not these guys' fault. No, it's not. It's not their fault. You know whose fault it is? It's your fault. It's your fault for not being honest from day one. And now, as they say, be careful what you wish for, because you just might get it. And it is now coming back to bite these girls in the ass. Okay? And again, it's not their fault either. Okay? They're the ones getting screwed by these policies. But these guys didn't make the policies. Oh, no, no, no. You and your kind here made the policies. You better look in the mirror. But if people go and listen to this whole story, she never looks in the mirror. She just says, oh, once again, it's the patriarchy trying to like force itself into our area. It's the patriarchy, the evil patriarchy, okay? Well, she says, why don't they go out and we women, we had to go out and fundraise and start our own leagues and get our own money and do it all ourselves. Well, let me ask you, what about Title IX? What about Title IX in the United States? Okay? Colleges must fund women's sports, even if those sports are money losing propositions. That is not going out, getting your own funding, and doing it yourself. That's piggybacking on the success of the hugely successful male basketball, male football, whatever other male baseball organizations of the college to steal money from those sections and put it into women's volleyball and put it into women's soccer and put it into women's lacrosse and other sports that nobody gives two craps about. Okay? And I'm not saying this as somebody who doesn't like women's sports. I coach women's sports. I like watching women's tennis far more than I like watching men's tennis. Okay? But you can't sit there and say with a straight face, we have done this all on our own. And why can't the boys just work as hard and do it on their own like we did? Well, the boys did. And they created the NBA. Okay? And the NBA became so successful, it makes billions of dollars a year. And they take money from that league to fund the WNBA, which is a money losing organization. And they end up paying the salaries of the women in the WNBA, who then complain that they don't get paid as much as their male counterparts. That is ludicrous. And that's not the patriarchy keeping you or these other women down. Oh no. Oh no, it's not the patriarchy fighting this, okay? It's women, and generally I will say it is women like you and your ilk that have gone in there and nagged and nagged and nagged until finally they are told, okay, fine, boys, you have to support these women's things, whether you like it or not. We're just going to take the money from you, okay? That's the case. Women haven't gone and created these leagues and created these organizations that are now so super financially successful. That's the reality. Okay, they are usually funded by the male sections of these leagues or by taxpayer money through local community programs, which is fair enough. I have no particular issue with that. Okay, now we're going to come here and we're going to say, let's go to about here.
You have these boys going, oh, I want to be included, so I'm just going to jump on in with the women, and I don't care about their right to fair competition, don't care about their right to safety. I'm just going to play.
Okay, so here she says, you know, boys, they just want to jump in there and join in on this women's league. Well, I say again, it seems to me that, 30, 40 years ago, there were a lot of men's clubs and men's organizations. But all the feminists came charging in saying, we have a right to be a part of these organizations. We deserve it. It's ours. It's a right. Okay? And the laws and all the lawmakers, they caved in and they said, you're right. You're right. These are sexist organizations, even though there's nothing really sexist about it, in that nobody felt the women were inferior. They just wanted a place to be among other men. For the most part, they just wanted a freaking woman-free zone where they could go hang with the guys, smoke a few cigars, tell some body jokes, and that's it, right? But now we have women going in and saying there can't be any men's organizations, no men's gyms. They all have to be like both sex gyms. Even though when a man, Ralph Stops, applied to the Just Ladies fitness facility, he was denied membership because he's a male. So he filed a complaint. But the courts said that, oh, look, he failed to prove on a balance of probabilities that he was actually discriminated against because his humanity wasn't demeaned. Okay, it's somewhere in here. You can pause the video and look through that stuff. But ultimately, they said, oh no, you can have a Just Ladies Fitness, and that's okay. you can have the Just Ladies Fitness because, women, because they're allowed to have their own thing, but men aren't. Men can't have their own thing. Okay? And then we see things like, what about the Boy Scouts? What about the Boy Scouts? There's already the Girl Scouts or the Girl Guides, depending on where you live in the world, which are exactly the same thing. But it's like, no, the boys can't have just Boy Scouts. They have to have People Scouts. So now the Boy Scouts allows girls, which, number one, is really hurting the Girl Scouts organization because they have lost a number of people from that organization to go into the Boy Scouts organization. And number two, like I say, it takes away another chance for boys to just be with boys. Okay, and that is valuable time for boys to just bond without girls. Okay. But oh no, she doesn't care about that. And I would guess that she would be totally supportive of that kind of thing happening. Okay. So we're allowed Just Ladies Fitness. We're not allowed Boy Scouts. We're not allowed boys teams joining the girls' league of netball because that's unfair for the girls. That's unfair for the girls. Okay. And then if we come back here again, we're going to come back just a few seconds.
About their right to safety. I'm just going to play their right to fair competition. Don't care about their right to safety. I'm just going to play. So yet again, we're seeing.
So she says that the boys clearly don't care about the girls' rights to safety, and they don't care about the right of girls to fair play. I have been reliably told for decades and decades that a woman needs a man like a fish needs a bicycle, and that is to say they don't. And that the idea of chivalry and being a gentleman and treating women as though they are the fairer sex is just benevolent sexism. And that it is just as insulting to open a door for a woman or treat her as though she is less capable as it is to tell her she's a hoe. Okay? So now that these guys went in there and 46-12, it seems like they didn't really show a lot of mercy in that game. They probably kept kind of pouring it on. Now, I don't even know. Maybe they could have won at 60 or 70. Okay? They might have been playing merciful. But if you're talking about now, the guys don't care about the safety of the girls or they don't care about fair play. Well, fair play is those guys going out and busting their ass as hard as they can against that girls' team. And they are showing that they are not sexist by not taking it easy, not worrying about the safety. Because when they play football or netball or whatever game they play against other guys, rest assured, they're probably throwing elbows, they're stepping on feet, they're freaking giving them a knee when they can. Okay? They're going to go out there and now they're doing the same thing to girls. Well, it seems to me feminism of the last 50, 70 years is starting to pay off. Okay? Because these guys now are saying, no, we're okay going out there and treating them as equals. We are absolutely okay. So who are you? Who are you? Catherine Devies or whatever, however you pronounce your name. Who are you to try and set the women's movement back 40, 50 years by saying that men now need to treat women in a sexist fashion, like treating them as though they are children and playing soft on them and treating them gently when they wouldn't treat their equal male people gently, male competitors gently. Okay? So there you go. There you go. And in fact, again, I've been reliably told, let's pull this up. Here's Joe Biden, President of the United States of America, most powerful man in the world. Here's what he says.
There's not a single thing a man can do that a woman can't do as well or better. Not a single thing.
There you go. Not a single thing. Not a single thing, except perhaps play netball. Okay? But in general, the President of the United States has said they are just as capable. So you know what I say now? Okay? I've been told by frickin' the highest levels of government, that they are just as capable, that these women are just as capable of winning that tournament as the boys. So I say, I'm assuming these here are the girls that were in the final, right? Because they're here in this netball final heading. So here's what I say. Ladies, get off your lazy asses and start frickin' busting your hump. Because clearly, if these guys beat you by 34 goals, you need to step your game up. Okay? Because here we go. Joe Biden, leader of the free world, has said you are just as capable of doing it as well as, or better, or better. So you need to start tapping into those reserves. Okay? Dig down deep, ladies. Push hard. Don't be such a pansy. Okay? Do the sisterhood proud. So now let's move on. We got 354.
Again, compete against women.
Well, you can't. Quite frankly, as I've said, when you have inclusion of men and boys, or men and boys with a special self-declared identity, women and girls lose out. Now, if you look at the...
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Turf alert. Turf alert. She's talking about men and boys who have certain identities. Oh my goodness. But I've been reliably told again for a number of years now that there are no males and females. It's all social constructs. There's no men and women. There's no boys and girls. They're just social constructs. Okay? And it's whatever you feel you are. It's whatever you feel you are. So maybe these guys here, oh, not there. Maybe these guys here, maybe they feel like women. Okay? Maybe they feel like women. Maybe they identify as women. Same thing here. Look at this. They're all hugging each other. They're all hugging each other together there, right? Clearly, they probably feel right at home here with their sisters. There you go. So quit being so discriminatory here, lady. Talking about all the people who identify need to get out of the sport. Jeepers. And then finally, let's see here. We've got 417.
Giving up fair competition and safety on women. What they're doing here is they're yet again going to prioritise inclusion, and they're going to put the burden of giving up fair competition and safety.
There you go. Yet again, they're prioritizing fair competition and they're prioritizing inclusion over fair competition. Well, I'm going to say again, it's not the patriarchy, lady, that has created the situation where they're saying, oh, it's all about inclusion. Because your whole argument about the patriarchy is that it was there to keep women down. That's the antithesis of inclusion. That's exclusion. Okay? So now, though, that you and your ilk, all you radical, man-hating, ball-busting feminists, have fought for decades and decades and decades trying to make inroads into every men's organization. Okay? Now that it's coming back to bite you in the ass, where you say, okay, there's no more men and women. There's no more gender segregation as far as sports goes or organizations goes. And now the men are turning around and joining the women's leagues. Now that it's biting you in the ass, you again are saying it's the patriarchy trying to force themselves into women's places. No. It was all you ball busters trying to force yourself into the men's organizations and forcing changes to the laws, which then said people cannot do any kind of exemptions or exceptions based on sex. Sorry, now you've got the world you wanted. And as you've continued to push this agenda for years and years and years and years, and literally generations now, for generations, okay, here's what you end up with. What has held boys and men back from doing this earlier? And I will tell you the answer because you're clearly clueless. So I'll tell you the answer. Shame. Shame has held back men and boys because the idea for throughout history was great. If you go against a girl or a girl's team, there is no upside. Okay. If you win, it's like great. You beat up on a bunch of girls. Whoop-de-frickin' do. If you lose, haha, you lost to a girl. So guys, even though they knew, you know what, I could beat these girls. Absolutely, I could beat them. They don't go in there because everybody's just going to be like, dude, come on. You're just freaking beating up on girls. It's kind of unfair. Okay. It would be like taking a team of boxers and going out and placing them in a ring and having them duke it out with a bunch of midgets. Okay. You know what the outcome's going to be. Okay. And that's nothing bad against the midgets. Okay. They're just not as physically capable. If I got in there with somebody with Vladimir Klitschko, that's going to be just as freaking, I'm going to have just the same chance of winning that fight. Okay. He's going to totally put me down. I'm physically not his equal. I'm not trained. And even if I was trained fully, he's this huge, massive guy who's going to be able to pound me. Okay. Even when we talk about boxers that are of super high level skill, why do they have different weight classes? Okay. The reason is because somebody like Arturo Gatti, who is a fantastic boxer, he ain't going to be able to take out somebody like Klitschko, who is a fantastic boxer and huge. Okay. So we end up with these situations where this is the case. Shame and embarrassment has held these guys back. Well, now there is no more of that because women have said for so long, we are equals. Treat us like equals. Treat us like equals. We're not women. We're not the fairer sex. We're just as good as you. We can do anything you can do. And guys, now you add on to that the idea that there are no men and women, that it's just a social construct. Well, these guys now are just saying, fine, I believe you. I've been told this my whole life. And now they are agreeing. And they are going out there and they are going to start pounding these women's teams. And you're all upset because now women are just going to be standing on the sideline watching women's sports being played by men. Sorry, I have no sympathy. So, where I say I am of two minds, I totally agree. It's a ludicrous proposition. But I am of another mind that is now dominant over the first thought, is that if I coached high school boys and my team wasn't good enough, I'd say, great, we're going to compete as women and we're going to sign up in the women's side and the women's tournaments. And if anybody hassles us, we're going to freaking make a complaint about discrimination. And then I'm going to put them in there and we're going to freaking go out and we're going to beat the women and get our gold medals. Sorry, because why do something else? Why do otherwise? There is now no longer an incentive to not do it, right? And understand, there are other people that I do like. So, for example, Sydney Watson. Sydney Watson had a video a while ago about the erasure of women from women's sports and stuff. And there's these girls here in Connecticut, I think it was. Where did I pull it up here? Connecticut girls sued to block participation of transgender athletes. Okay? And again, they are making a legitimate point. But I don't care because this crap has been going on for ages. For ages. And the only reason they're suing now, okay, is not because ideologically it is a bad ideological stance to allow transgender athletes to compete as girls if they're actual boys. They are complaining because it's hitting them. It's not about the ideology or for them. It's about them being affected. It's the same as this woman. She wouldn't have any issue probably with women joining a men's team, with women getting in an all-male gym, with women getting into the Boy Scouts. She likely would have cheered that on as an advancement of rights. So I say, I don't support you. I don't. And I don't support anyone like this now. It is the ideologues and the radicals that took over everything. And they're ruining it for all the regular, and I say regular in quotes, women and girls out there who probably ideologically actually are sympathetic to the points that the women's movement has made. But because they didn't take a stand before it got out of control, they didn't stop and look and say, where will this lead? What's this going to lead to? They didn't do it. And now that it's biting them in the ass, they go, whoa, 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 whoa. Wait a second. this ain't fair. This is wrong. And it's like, yeah, but you were fine when it was affecting every other girl out there until it hits you. So as far as I'm concerned, keep bringing it on, men. More and more and more men can get involved in these women's sports and take it to them at 100% intensity. Okay? Give them what they have asked for all these decades.